on. We all been dunked on. It's a part of it. But I'm begging the officials. Listen, look at me. Can I get it? Is there any way we can zoom in closer to me? Please just zoom in. Look, a slow zoom in. Look, a slow zoom in. If someone gets dunked on, it's just being dunked on. There is no reviews. There is no offensive foul. There's nothing other than just being dunked on. That's it.
Well, I tell you what, L, look, I give up, okay? When it comes down to Steph Curry, the light-skinned brother with the green eyes, I finally bow down to him, okay? He is him.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps because they know what happens next. So without further ado, free smoke. Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver, pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends, don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers, been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears, I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuckboys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa. Bars forever like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't.
Let's talk. So, how's everybody doing today? We good? We chilling? We vibing? Let's start kicking it. Let's talk. So, the Mavs just lost game 3. Now, this is not shocking to me. I picked the Warriors to win this series in 5, and I also had them winning games 1, 2, and 3. Now, I don't want to talk about the game as much. I want to talk about these analysts, but first I do want to talk about Curry and these analysts, because this is why I'm so irritated with the way people pick this series. I'm very irritated with the way people pick this series, and the way people pick this series is, to me, the problem with the fucking media. For one, you had dudes picking off a recency bias. Oh, Luka just killed the Suns. He got to be able to do that to the Warriors. Luka, the best player left in the playoffs. Luka does not play defense at all. It is no shot. You cannot say Luka is the best player in these playoffs just because he can go give you 40 every game. Jason Tatum can go give you 40 every game. Jaylen Brown, if given the freedom, I'm sure could go get you 40 every game. Curry could go get you 40 every game. If Clay was healthy, he could get you 40 every game. Jordan Poole, if given the freedom, could go get you 40 every game. That does not matter, especially when you can give me 40 and I can give you 40. That does not matter. That you cannot have a series in which you say, and this is the media, well, Luka and Steph cancel each other out. They don't, though, because Luka is a scorer, a ISO scorer. He monopolizes the ball. He dribble. People keep comparing this motherfucker to Magic and Larry. I don't see those comparisons. This dude is James Harden. And that's not a bad thing to be a James Harden, because Luka's young. Right now, he resembles James Harden. He can get better. But what y'all not going to do, the media, boost up Spencer Dinwiddie, who is a good player. Boost up Brunson and all these other players, Kleber and all these other dudes when they beat Phoenix. And now, when the Warriors, a completely different team, come in there and start waxing their asses, now those are bad players. Oh, now Luka don't have help. See, this is my problem with the media. Because before everybody in the media was picking Golden State to lose this series and for the Mavs to win it, you could have recognized that those role players might not have stepped up against the Warriors like they did against Phoenix. You could have addressed the fact that Phoenix lost that series because of Chris Paul's recent decline, or all of a sudden Chris Paul started playing his age. Those are things you could have addressed before the series. So now that they happening after these games, don't come back now with, oh, well, you know, we didn't expect. Yeah, you could have, though, if you was good at your job. And this ain't just for the bad analysts like Max Kellerman bozo ass or Nick Wright bozo ass or none of the main dumbasses like skipping them. No. This is also for motherfuckers like JJ Redick, who fucking did all this hyping up of Luka. Oh, who gonna stop Luka? Jason Tiff. Who gonna stop Luka? Who gonna guard Luka? Motherfucker, who is Luka gonna stop? Because as much as the media like to tell you, oh, Steph Curry the best three-point shooter, go look at Steph's defensive numbers, my guy. Steph Curry has become a two-way player. And I keep seeing people say, and this is how I know these motherfuckers is not watching it. You got to put Steph Curry and Jordan Poole in this pick and roll. You got to put Steph Curry and Jordan Poole in the pick and roll. The smart analysts done even started saying, you know what? You got to actually target Jordan Poole. Don't target Steph, actually, because Steph's actually a great defender right now. But they don't want to acknowledge that for some reason. I'm not understanding this hate for the this biasness. And like Matt Barnes said, if you don't like Steph Curry at this point, you are a hater. It is no two ways around it. I'm seeing dumbass motherfuckers on Twitter who is Phoenix fans and fans of other teams who continuously are picking against the Warriors just for the simple reason they don't like Steph Curry, or they are afraid of how much greater Steph Curry can become if he win a championship. That's all it is. You got motherfuckers saying Boston should beat the Warriors in the finals. What? Boston is down 2-1 right now. Like, you cannot continue to look at Boston and keep saying, oh, they beat KD in Brooklyn. That's a great win. But then on the same hand say, well, Brooklyn and KD wasn't really a great team, though. You see what I'm saying? You can't keep playing both sides of the candle, bro. I mean, you can't keep burning both sides of the fucking candle. Like, I don't understand this. And all I heard, the only thing I heard people talk about, and this is why I took offense to how people shit on Curry and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler so very clearly makes those motherfuckers on Miami better. So very clearly makes those motherfuckers better. He so very clearly gives them a different type of confidence that they did not have before Jimmy Butler. It is so clear the effect Jimmy Butler has had on this team. Everybody on this team most of the time on Miami steps up and plays far better with Jimmy Butler. It is just a fact. Steph Curry. This is what led me to this point. Steph Curry, a dude who the media for some reason continue to love to shit on, continue to love to question his greatness, continue to try to make excuses for everybody else as to why they are better than Curry and blah, blah, blah. But you want to know what's very funny to me? Because you keep telling me, oh, Curry needed KD, Curry needed KD. So explain to me how it is that KD was not, he won. He had Westbrook and a great team. KD always had great players on his teams. Westbrook was a better player than Klay Thompson and Draymond Green at those times. Westbrook was on the All-75 anniversary team, bruh. Klay wasn't. So explain to me how KD couldn't win a championship before Curry. He could win it with Curry, but haven't won one after Curry. Haven't even won a playoff series since leaving Steph. But somehow, Steph Curry needed KD. And see, that's so weird to me how y'all flip these narratives, because Kevin Durant didn't win a championship before Curry, but Curry won a championship before KD. But for some reason, this the only player who y'all like to say, oh, but he needed KD. But he won before that. Oh, but the Cavs didn't have Kyrie and Kevin Love. Well, Kevin Love made no difference in none of the finals that he played in. You keep telling me LeBron James the greatest player all time, but he couldn't beat players who had never been to the finals before. Every other year, y'all tell me that the team that's been to the finals more will beat that team that's never been because of experience. But all of a sudden, experience did not matter no more. Y'all tried to give LeBron James MVP for that series, but for some reason, y'all keep making excuses now. Not to mention, I have not heard one person make excuses or talk about the asterisks on Kawhi Leonard's championship he won with the Raptors when Kevin Durant and Klay was hurt. But y'all keep doing that to Curry for some reason. That's very interesting. And then He wins with Kevin Durant. And you hold that against him. Which is very odd to me because before he had won with Kevin Durant, they had just came back from 3-1 down to Kevin Durant. Yeah, you don't talk about it because they lost the finals that year. But to get to the finals, they had to come back from down 3-1 against Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. But they needed Kevin Durant. That's cool. I like how y'all decide to, determine how history would have played based off of certain things and leave out other things. That's cool. He wins with Kevin Durant, and then that's held against him. He should have won the Finals MVP the second year he had Kevin Durant. They still gave it to Kevin Durant because media narrative. That's all the media do. Media's narrative. Curry should have 2 Finals MVPs right now. I'm not going to argue with you about this. He should have got that shit over Andre Iguodala. You take Steph Curry off the floor for all those games they won. They do not win those games. You take Steph Curry off of the floor in that series. They do not win that series. Like, the media tarnished Steph Curry, tried to tarnish his legacy by pulling that bullshit and overhyping. That's what I'm saying. The media create these jackass narratives and get to run with it, bro. That's the pencil pushers that keep deciding shit, bruh. Andre Iguodala held LeBron James to numbers in which made people say LeBron should win MVP in a series he didn't win. That's how great Andre Iguodala stopped LeBron James. And somehow he won MVP of that series, not Curry. Wild. Kevin Durant deserved the MVP that first year. The second year he was there, they gave that shit they just gave it to him just to give it to him. Because Curry should have won the MVP. Curry damn near averaged a triple-double throughout that series. And they gave that shit to Kevin Durant because Curry struggled in one game. And if you put all his games besides Kevin Durant's in that second championship they won together, Curry had the more comparable or better numbers. Like, it's ridiculous. So then, you hold it against him that he won with Kevin Durant. But it's a lot of people superstars, who haven't been able to win together. Let's talk about them. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have not won a championship together. Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving did not win a championship together. James Harden and Chris Paul did not win a championship together. Fucking Kawhi Leonard and Paul George have not won a championship together. Paul George and Russell Westbrook did not win a championship together. That stacked Bulls team back in the day with Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, Pau Gasol, and all them boys did not win a championship together. You see what I'm doing right here? How so many great teams with great duos and whatnot did not win a championship. But for some reason, we hold it against Curry for being able to win a championship. When so many stars hate to play with each other nowadays because they ain't willing to sacrifice for one another. Curry said, I will take a full step back and let you be the fucking man. Not only because I'm securing who I am and securing the player that I am, but I want to win. And if stepping back, I give Dwayne Wade all the credit in the world for taking a step back for LeBron James when he was in Miami. Because that helped push LeBron's narrative. But for some reason, y'all got this wicked hate for Steph Curry. So when it's a Steph Curry took a step back and still played like an MVP to allow Kevin Durant to be great, y'all hold that against him. That's wild. That's wild. So then you got this chapter that's that's now happening after Kevin Durant. Team that was dealing with Klay Thompson being out for 2 years. Everybody knows Draymond Green's a Hall of Famer, but come on now, he ain't no scorer. Steph Curry leading a whole bunch of young dudes, getting them to where they need to be. So now, when they win a championship, y'all can say, oh, well, he needed Jordan Poole. But just a couple years ago, y'all was telling me Jordan Poole was trash. When that's who Curry was walking out on the floor with, helping his game. Gary Payton II was a dude who was tossed around the league. Nobody wanted him. Otto Porter, nobody wanted him. Now, because Curry done found a way to win with him, because Curry and the Warriors make these dudes better. Oh, now it's a problem. Oh, now he got a whole bunch of stars around him. That's very funny because you take Steph Curry off of this team right now, this team ain't in the playoffs. This team's not even a winning team without Steph Curry. The gravity of Steph Curry is insane. And I don't understand why y'all don't want to come to the conclusion that this man is just a legendary fucking player. But you can continue to hate. It's bad for your health, but do what you want to. But this is what I'm going to say right here. Everybody like to talk about how superstars make players better and whatnot. And I can tell you right now, if the players that are on the Dallas Mavericks were on the we're on the Warriors right now, Spencer Dinwiddie would be having a better series. Brunson would be having a better series because Steph Curry legitimately, he don't just make his players better. He give them the opportunities to be better. He give them the opportunities to be great. I always say Steph Curry is him. But he ain't just him because he him. He him because he give all the players on his team the opportunity to feel like they him too. And that's completely different than dribbling the air out of the ball and then hitting a pass with like 2 seconds left on the shot clock and having your dude forcibly shoot it, take the shot up. You might be throwing it to somebody who ain't even a catch and shooter, who might prefer a catch to get into his rhythm by trying to get a layup. But instead, he got to launch a couple threes to start his game off because that's the type of offense. That's making him better in these type of offenses that they used to run with Harden, that they clearly doing with Luka Doncic. Imagine what your team could be right now if your superstar was more like Steph Curry. And I'm not trying to hype up Steph Curry, but I am tired of people continuously hating on this man, so I'm going to do what I got to do. Imagine if your best player on your team was a Steph Curry type. And imagine just how much better this fucking team would be. Yeah, you can talk about how he can shoot, but just look at what he is willing to do to make other people great. The other night in Game 2 against Dallas, when the Warriors was going on that run in the third quarter, Steph Curry didn't force Curry to put him back in the game. He wasn't itching to get back in the game because he let those dudes who he had feeling like him be him. And if you understand, you understand. I'm not going to explain what I'm saying. You understand, you understand. Go get cultured up. But that's a product of him allowing himself to take step backs and let other people be great. Jordan Poole do not get to what Jordan Poole is if Steph Curry is a selfish superstar who prefer to go drop 40 on a nightly basis without having to give the ball up. Like, come on now, do you really think... Imagine if your superstar... And it's easy for people to say, oh, well, he got Draymond Green. They drafted Draymond Green for one. And that's still a development type of thing. Draymond Green cannot get to what he is if Steph Curry don't play a more selfless type of basketball. You got to think about that. That's why I said the other night it was so dope when Jimmy Butler said, one of the ways I can be great is to sacrifice some of my shots for Bam. And that makes sense because Jimmy knows he can get his shot whenever he wants to. He know he can go get a bucket whenever he want to. Bam he got the confidence at all times to go get his shot. That he can go get a bucket whenever necessary, whenever needed. But if he sacrificed some of those extra shots that he might be taking to get Bam those shots so he could feel like the man that he is and yada yada yada, that's how you get Bam having the game that he had in Game 3. It's just... That's why I was offended. I'm just telling you, this is why I had such a problem. I wasn't offended. But this is why I had a problem with motherfuckers talking about some Luka was better than Jimmy and Steph. Because he's not. I get it. I love Luka. I raved about Luka just as much as everybody else did this year, last year, all these years Luka been in the playoffs. I said he might be the best, and I said one of the best. No, I don't think I said play. Since Luka done been in the playoffs, since he done got there, he might be the best scorer to touch the playoffs since he done got there. But another problem with Dallas, you can't even hide Luka on defense based off of how the Warriors play. That's important because they keep players in the action. They give you the space, the opportunities to be free, to play free so you can fit. Jordan Poole, look at how Jordan Poole is allowed to dribble the ball and whatnot. Look at how they allow Otto Porter and other guys if they want to try to get into a rhythm to get going. That's because of Steph Curry. Now, what I will say is, it's a group of Warriors on the Warriors right now that is not good. Like, Steve Kerr put them on the floor very rarely. He might mix one of those dudes from that rotation, like Juan Toscano-Anderson. Like, Juan Toscano's a good season player. Every time he done been in the playoffs, bro, he done been atrocious to me. Juan done had, like, in the first half of this game, bro, it's a thing. I understand passing and whatnot, bro, but the Warriors don't pass the ball just to pass the ball. And if you ever get into the thing, you can, this is one of the things that happen when you got a team that's more of a one-player type of team where that one player create the offense for everybody. When they try to force themselves to play a different type of style, they start to overpass, meaning they just starting to pass because that's not how they play. Last night, it was a situation where the Warriors were passing the ball, but the Warriors passed the ball to get somebody open or to score because they cutting along with these passes. And as they passing the ball, Juan Toscano-Anderson was the one who ended up hitting the cut, and he got the pass. He should have went up for a layup, and he passes out of the layup instead of going up for the contact and trying to get the layup in the foul. Right there, I'm like, see, this is exactly why this motherfucker is not on the floor. Because that shit made no sense. But they get the rebound, and they continue to do what they do. They get open again for Juan, and he fuck up again. And I'm like, yo, this is exactly why this motherfucker is never on the court. And they ended up getting him off the court. Like, unreal. And I saw a report today, Tyler Hero not playing tonight in Game 4 for the Heat because of his hip. I'm just telling you right now, that does not matter if Jimmy Butler is playing. I'm just telling you right now. One of the effects of Jimmy Butler you saw was so very clearly Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is almost of no use to Miami. That, bro, they got Duncan Robinson was benched for so long. Tyler Hero is the one who should have got benched. I don't know what the fuck done happened to this dude in these playoffs here. Not to mention, I done seen Tyler Hero. I don't watch him exclusively like a Tyler Hero watcher. And this is no shade at Tyler Hero. Like I said before, I just don't think Tyler Hero is that great. Like, obviously, you got to be good to be in the NBA. I'm not talking like that. I'm talking about compared to his counterparts. I don't think. Maybe he just having some of the worst games of his career to me, bro. Because if you really looking, because I'm really paying attention to Tyler Hero on these games, bro, and I just don't think he done played good at all. But maybe he was dealing with this hip thing. That's what I was ultimately getting to. So ultimately, it could be this hip thing that was fucking him up the whole time. I'm a lean towards that as being what the problem was, because good Lord have mercy, bro, he done been bad in this series. But he won't be playing tonight, so I think you can replace him, though, with Duncan Robinson. All you need is somebody who can move your feet, because aside from Kyle Lowry and Jimmy Butler, nobody, or not Jimmy, because Jimmy not a guard. He played a small forward position, I believe, and I understand it's positionless basketball, but they put two guards on the floor when he on the floor, so clearly he the small forward. He either small forward or the power forward. Him and PJ are the positionless basketball because Bam is clearly the center. Them two guards they put on the floor, unless it's Kyle Lowry running the. Now, if Kyle Lowry on the floor, obviously you know Kyle the point. But, and I think Kyle Lowry going to be better than he was game 1, bro. Like, it's nothing Kyle Lowry. Like, I got so much respect for Kyle Lowry, bro. Kyle Lowry is a great player. They never give him credit for that championship he helped the Raptors win with Kawhi Leonard, which is wild to me. Like, they be like, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam. I'm like, I mean, Kyle Lowry was a great, big reason y'all won a lot of games and shit. Like, this motherfucker was the leader of this team. Like, Kawhi wasn't even the vocal leader of this team when they won. He was just the best player on the team. That's what I'm saying to me. The media then gave Kawhi Leonard the title of the leader of that team. He led them to that championship, when in actuality, he was just the best player on the team. And Pascal Siakam had some great games. Now, granted, you know, it's going to still be that crowd out there that's like, that championship don't happen if the Warriors was healthy. And I agree with that, but I also don't like taking away people's championships and stuff like that. Because like I said, if that's the case, then you can take away a whole bunch of teams' championships if we want to play that game. So I don't like playing that game, which is why I got so much respect for Kyle Lowry for helping lead his team to a championship, bro. If I didn't think that championship was valid, I wouldn't have this type of respect I got for Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is a dog. He got that dog in him. And so I think Kyle Lowry will be better because he's dealing with that hamstring injury, man. And hamstring injuries is tricky because them motherfuckers can just blow out at any point in time. And he is not all the way healed yet. So he probably still trying to, Now, he played, to me, a great defensive game. But aside from Kyle Lowry, nobody else on that fucking Miami guard squad, on the guards, can guard. And I was looking at the stats after the game. Not after the game. I looked at the stats earlier this morning from that game. Old buddy, Strauss, I think that's his name. He had a decent shooting game. I still stand by every single comment I made. It's not about the percentages that dudes like him is shooting and shit like that. It's the shot selection, bruh. Because if you realize, some of them shot, the reason he shoot a good percentage at times is because he might be getting easy looks early, but then as he might be 2 for 3 or 2 for 4 and then start jacking up dumbass shots. Like if you go look at the games, you'll see what I'm talking about. I watched that game all the way through. The shooting percent, this is why you can't be somebody who's stat watch. You know what I'm saying? If you look at games through stats, then you will be, you'll say ignorant shit like most of the media be saying. So you know what? You probably could do it. That'll actually probably be your opportunity to get into the biz. But I legitimately got on here to go on that diatribe, on that rant right there about people's disdain for Steph Curry, bro. Because I can't take it, bro. I'm looking at this team, bro, and I'm like, yo, Steph Curry, his ability to have Andrew Wiggins feeling like the fucking man. But not just have him feeling, he giving Andrew Wiggins the opportunities. He giving him the space. Andrew Wiggins ain't on a roll, and then Steph like, okay, now give me the ball. No, bro, he letting these motherfuckers eat. People like, oh, that's nothing. Yes, it is. Every superstar don't do what Steph Curry do. They don't play like he play. They don't allow himself. They don't take themselves. They don't have the confidence to detach themselves from things that Steph Curry can to allow other people to shine. They wouldn't be okay with some of the headlines and shit that go around. Like, look, it's no coincidence that the ignorant ass media, every time Steph Curry got one of the dudes on his team playing great, they start trying to say that's the best player on the team, or that player is playing way better than Steph. They don't ever say, look at how Steph step back, or how Steph is doing yada 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 to help bruh play better. It's, oh, he just playing way better than Steph right now. Like, the media is a bunch of bozos, bro. I saw somebody tweet the other day. It make a difference when LeBron James had Wiggins, he traded him. And that's LeBron's prerogative. He didn't need Wiggins. He didn't want Wiggins. He wanted a veteran and guys who he thought was ready to win now. Steph Curry got Wiggins, turned him into an all-star. Wiggins has been a huge reason as to why. Now, I'm telling you right fucking now, because I really feel like this is a rewrite of the finals of the Curry's first championship. If Andrew Wiggins win the Magic Johnson Award of the conference finals, I'm going to be highly upset. Because it ain't no way. Wiggins has been the second best player in this series, or third best player in this series, second best player for the Warriors. But Steph Curry has been so very clearly the best player in this series. He done been the best fourth quarter player in this series. And shout out to Luka. He had a great fourth quarter last night. But Steph Curry done been the best player in this series. If they give that fucking award to somebody else, bro. Because I just got a feeling. This is what they did with Andre Iguodala, bro. Only Andre Iguodala could go down there, hold LeBron James to 30-something points and score about 10 points, miss a whole bunch of free throws, and take home Finals MVP over Steph fucking Curry. And then you got people yelling, oh, well, Steph don't play defense. But y'all just said Luka the best player in the fucking NBA right now, and he don't play defense. And he don't even try. And I done told y'all before, you don't have to be a good defender, but you're supposed to try. At least try. You can even fake like you trying. I know players, bruh. I'm telling you, I always bring it back to my boy Coach. Coach is a terrible defender. One-on-one, Coach couldn't defend nobody. I'm not calling my boy a cone, though, because that's disrespectful. But my boy Coach can't defend nobody. Now, he could get a steal here or there, but if Coach is playing on a team that's everybody else is defending and everybody else vibing out and working hard, Coach gonna put in work too. He might not be the best defender, but he gonna try on every possession. Cause he gonna tell you that's the least I could do with everybody else out here doing it. He gonna try. Cause for one, Coach is not like he just ain't gonna have a advantage. Cause Coach is a guard, and he a small guard at that. Like he's skinny. Like Coach probably 130 pounds, 140 pounds soaking wet or something. Like I don't know. He like 170. I give him 170. My bad, Coach. 170, 180 pounds soaking wet. Probably not 180. But Coach is a guard. So Coach really can't, and not to mention he's a scoring guard, because Coach is a straight up scorer. And so it's a good, Coach not going to be able to defend most people. But if you out there trying, and the team trying, Coach going to give you effort. I don't care if that man let his dude give up 30 points to his man. He was trying to stop every single one of them 30 points. You got to at least try, Luka. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to at least try. That's all I'm saying. I don't care that Luka. Now, it is kind of weird that Luka is a big dude, so you would think that he would be able to use his body to a certain extent, but Luka is just not in the shape of a like Kawhi Leonard. Paul George. I saw a tweet last night that was like Paul George the smoothest player in the NBA, and I instantly liked it before I even saw the whole video because I already knew what they meant, bro. Paul George is the smoothest motherfucking player in the NBA as far as his crispness. Like when you go watch Paul George hit his shots, his dribbles, how he get off the like, bro. Paul George smooth as shit. Like he got a smooth ass game. Paul George also one of my favorite players in the NBA, bro. I hope he get healthy and ball out again. I really hate that he played for the Clippers. Dead ass. Like, if the Clippers were no longer in L.A., if they wasn't named the L.A. Clippers, bro, I still wouldn't root for him. But still, I really wish Paul George. I'm just happy he playing in the city he would want to play in. But, it's hard for me to root for the Clippers, bro, because it's just never going to happen. It's like I don't root for Boston. Like, even though, like I said, that's why I said on here, bro, this is what I'm saying. You can be biased and still, you just say it. That's why I said logically I should be picking the Celtics to win this series, because the Celtics are the better team. But I'm not picking the Celtics. Not just because I'm a Laker fan my whole life, so I'm just not picking the Celtics, but because I fuck with Jimmy Buckets. It's okay to be biased if you just gonna admit it, but I'm also not gonna be biased to an ignorant level. Like, my biasness only extending to who I'm picking, so I'm willing to rock with that L if the Heat lose a series. Because in my mind, I'm gonna still say, well, I deserve that L because, I knew the Heat were not better as a team as far as the talent and whatnot than the Celtics. However, I don't give a fuck because Jimmy Butler, that's my guy. But I'm also not disrespecting the Celtics lying to you, talking about no Heat in 5, like dumbass Nick Wright. And I'll put my tweet on the video, I guess, because I'm getting a lot of interactions with it. But to the bozos who comment under the tweet, he said the Mavs would beat the Phoenix Suns too. I don't think you realize that this is not like I just explained to you, this is not I care that he a biased analyst, even though for Nick Wright it's different because his biasness completely is fucking the game up. I don't care that he picked them motherfuckers to beat Phoenix. He didn't pick them motherfuckers to beat Phoenix in 5 games. because that would have just been fucking stupid and disrespectful. The motherfucker took the Mavs to beat these motherfuckers in 5 games. A team not led by champions, never been to a championship. This is the first time they've ever been in the Western Conference Finals under this group. And he took this team to beat the Warriors in 5. That is just fucking stupid. That is like me saying, using my biasness towards Jimmy Butler in the Boston, and saying Heat in 5. That is just stupid, dumb, ignorant, and clearly biased. And then to try to use facts or all these dumbass things, these false facts and these created narratives and these created stats to try to back that up, it's just ignorant. And then to get on TV a second day in a row and yell it even louder with your chest, basically damn near blew your chest out restating this, is even ignoranter and even stupider. And that motherfucker get paid for that. And that's probably my biggest problem. I could care less about what people do to make their big bucks. I want everybody in the world to get rich. Not like this. You see, because I'm very passionate about this. And the fact that Nick Wright can get on TV and be so blatantly ignorant, so blatantly biased, to where his biasness clearly affect his takes, and he get on TV and say this and spew this stupid shit. This is exactly why KD said anybody can get paid to do what Nicki can do. Because he right. Anybody can be paid to do what Nicki can do. Because that motherfucker is so flagrantly ignorant and biased. You cannot be paying somebody. This motherfucker gonna go have a direct deposit of 6 figures or cash a 6-figure check when he could get on TV and say shit like that. You telling me that's not a problem whatsoever? That you could just basically be a fan on TV. He is no different than the fans on Twitter. The difference is he's on a public platform getting paid 6 figures to do it. That is insane. Only in America. Only in America, bro. Because that's fucking insane. That's what I'm saying. Y'all motherfuckers be getting mad at motherfuckers like the Kardashians talking about, oh, they don't got no talent. Bro, Nick Wright got to go to school and use his, I went to school to become a journalist degree, blah, 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 just to justify him being atrocious at his job. Because that's the motherfucker who I'm looking at saying, how? He's not good. Bro, anybody can sit up there and kiss LeBron's ass all day. And I done told y'all, bro, at some point in time, y'all gonna have to take the penis out your mouth from down your throat to take a breath of fresh air. But I'm telling you, man, KD was right. Anybody can get paid to do Nicki's job. But Nicki ain't special. Anybody can't get paid to do Tim Legler's job. Tim Legler's a fucking beast. Hey, what happened to that motherfucker Mike Greenberg, bro? I haven't seen that motherfucker on Good Up in a minute. He must be taking a break to football season. But if so, I respect that. I really do. But you missing out on the finals, my boy. Because listen. I don't care how you feel about the Warriors. I really don't. I don't care how you feel about Steph. I don't care about your inaccurate narratives, your inaccurate thoughts. Oh, they front runners and all this other goofy shit y'all like to say. Creating different things to find ways to hate on this man. The fact that these boys will find a way in the third iteration of this team, all 3 of them being led by the same core, the same leader, the same coach, to get to a finals. Because the series ain't over yet. We still 1 win away from getting to the finals. But if this team can get back to the finals for the 3rd time in a third different, how many teams can say that? I mean, just think of Steph Curry's, the magnitude of a Steph Curry, bro. He is a Michael Jordan, a LeBron James, a Kobe Bryant, a Dirk Nowitzki, a Dwayne Wade. He is that player for a franchise, but it's on a higher level because The Warriors are worth so. I saw somebody on TV say the other day, bro, the Warriors never worrying about cash, bro. They basically a license to print cash over there at their place, and they probably right with the money that Chase Center bring in and all that shit. Steph Curry done made these motherfuckers billions. He done completely changed these motherfuckers, bro. And this is about to be the third iteration of this team that can get to a finals, bro. You can only do that with players like this, bro. That's why LeBron can go to different teams and get them to finals. I do think LeBron and Steph's paths will end up. I wish LeBron could have been able to win with those dudes in Cleveland, because then LeBron really could have been considered the GOAT. Because the one legitimate argument that people can constantly, even though I don't think it's legit because everybody needs stars to win, you can never say LeBron had guys on here. You can never say LeBron won a championship like Steph Curry, in the sense that Steph Curry had dudes he was drafted with, and not Kevin Durant, and his first championship with Dre, Clay, and Iggy was nobody. Come on, y'all not finna try to use the Iggy thing. But LeBron wasn't able to win a championship with a team like that, even though he got to a championship with a team like that. He just ended up going up against the motherfucking Spurs. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. You know. But if LeBron could have, I'm not holding that against him. I'm just saying, if he could have got that, though, it's a good chance motherfuckers I would actually probably agree. It was probably like a 1 year or 2 year span in my lifetime where I legitimately was like, LeBron is actually the GOAT of all time. But that's because I had a lot of LeBron motherfuckers in my ear that year. And that was before I became fully immersed in myself, where I was no longer needing other people's opinions to help form mine. You know what I'm saying? I had got way smarter in the game and shit. And I was like, nah, buddy. I'm telling you, I always say, bro, I attach myself to winners, bro. But it's usually before they become winners. And even if I attach myself to a winner during the midst of them winning, why would I ever attach myself with somebody who constantly don't win and put myself through that stress? Because I'm already doing it with the Lakers, basically. Because I've been a Laker fan my whole life. Even though, like I done told people all the time, if Kobe was never a Laker, then I would have been the fan of the team Kobe played for. But because Kobe was a Laker, I ended up becoming a Laker fan in the midst of me being a Kobe fan. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like I became a Warrior fan, because I was such a huge Steph Curry fan before he had ever got to Golden State. I was a Steph Curry fan, and in the midst of being a Steph Curry fan, I started to love everything about the Warriors. The Warriors more so though, because to me, I just love what the Warriors have done. The fact that Steph Curry don't have to go out there and be a superstar every night, even though he is he do have to go out there and be a superstar every night, because his superstardom is different. Just the threat of this motherfucker changes everything. You know what I'm saying? Some superstars actually have to go in there and put in the action. Steph Curry could go in there and fuck you up and not even put up shots. Now, obviously, he not gonna go scoreless and shotless, obviously, but you understand what I'm saying. His gravity is just ridiculous. And you could keep trying to dumb it down and try to say, well, look at this person, innit? Nobody else's gravity did what this dude's gravity do to a situation, bro. I'm just telling you. You put Steph Curry on Phoenix. Phoenix is a championship contender. Throw that motherfucker on the Orlando Magic. Orlando is a championship contender. You throw that motherfucker on any team in the NBA, this system is going to follow him, bro. I'm just telling you, Steve Kerr can't run this system if it's not for Steph Curry. I'm just telling you, most superstars is not coming off of the ball and moving and doing all this extra running and shit that Steph Curry doing. It's just not going to happen. Give me the ball. Let me work. You want some examples? Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Chris Paul. Like, you want me to keep going? Because the motherfuckers who do that type of shit are not usually considered superstars. Those are role players who you ask to do that type of running and that type of pin down off of screens. And those are the type of dudes who you ask to do that. Steph Curry willing to do that because he knows if I can get everybody else feeling themselves and they hitting shots, then that gives us an even better chance to win. I'm just telling you, bro, he a superstar that done legitimately made his entire franchise better. From every player, every coach, bro. I'm telling you, this is what you want. Y'all pray that LeBron can go out there and not have to drop 40 points every night. You pray he could go out there and have dudes on his team pick up their roles so he can only have to drop 20 to 30 points a night. And that it's a necessity when he have a great game or a high-scoring game, because great games ain't just because you score a lot of points. Because Luka Doncic scoring 40-plus points and is living in the plus-minus negatives. So, but that's... Hey, I just think, bro, obviously I think people respect him and start to understand his legacy when he retired. That's just what it usually happened, because he no longer beating your favorite team, beating your favorite player, fucking up your predictions, fucking up your hot takes, fucking up everything that you want to go great for another player that you already done wrote as the greatest player of all time. Once Steph Curry is no longer able to do all those things to you, then you'll start to like him and respect him and whatnot, and hit us with the, oh, I didn't respect him and like him when he was playing, but now, yeah, whatever. Yo, I bought this lighter today. And sometimes I feel like I be buying these big lighters, bro, and they be giving me half the fuel be in it or whatever. But listen, this lighter look fire. It's got roar on the front of it with like a wildcat or something. Big High School Musical vibes. I saw a tweet the other day, bro. Oh, like it was a tweet of a TikTok where I guess it was a high school. They had Sunday best day, and all these motherfuckers came to school like they was dressed for Sunday service. And it was showing clips of the cafeteria in the video. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, is them boys in the fucking High School Musical fucking cafeteria, cuh? I'm like, sheesh. Because that High School Musical cafeteria was clean as shit, boy. I'm not even going to lie to you, boy. That shit was clean as a motherfucker. Clean. The High School Musical. They had money. But listen. Game 4. I don't think this is going to be a sweep. I really don't. Now, it could turn into... I'm not going to change my prediction just based off of how the... Well, actually, I could change my prediction based off of how the series going, because that's what smart people do. But my predictions of the series was never nothing outrageous. Like I said, I knew the Warriors... Well, I didn't know, but I predicted that the Warriors would win game 1, 2, and 3. Because like I said, bro, you got these fucking analysts who keep telling me the season don't matter, but then they keep using season stats to help Boston and Dallas. That's the thing that I'm noticing about these teams. How the Celtics is allowed to defend and bump and push people, but you can't do it to the Celtics on the other end. The Mavericks, when they actually can try to play defense and bump and all that shit, they can do it, but you can't do it to Luka on the other end. I mean, let's talk about the fucking dunk. Andrew Wiggins baptized Luka Doncic last night. Luka Doncic flopped. The ref immediately waved off the dunk, a highlight dunk, and call a fucking offensive foul. Now, ignore the fact that they reversed the call after it was challenged and whatnot. I just want to take a second to talk about how bad the NBA done got with not just these refs, but the fucking monitor. Bro, I saw I gotta put that pin in that one. I saw a tweet last night that was like the play review monitors, and it was like a picture of Jimmy Butler after the playoffs. It was like a review of the player monitor. Man, I ain't going through all this, bro. Let me slow down. The tweet said it was a review. A look at the review monitor after the playoffs, and it was showing Jimmy Butler when he was tired as hell leaning on the announcer's table in the bubble. And I was like, that's a fact, because they go to these bitches like 100 times a quarter. Shit ridiculous. But the fact that ref, because at the end of the day, it's still a judgment call. You still can make the judgment to be a bitch or not. And in that moment, that ref could have made the decision. Either I take away a highlight dunk or I let this bad boy ride. And in that moment, he said to himself, I'm taking away this dunk. Bro, you got to be a certain level of ignorant. You got to be a certain level of I ain't gonna call the man a bitch, but you gotta be a real bitch to do some bitch shit like that. That was ridiculous, bro. I don't understand how he got away with doing that whole shit. It's no way you look at that dunk and say, offensive foul. What have we come to, bro? Like people like to say the the NFL soft now. Bro, what is the NBA? This motherfucker saw that dunk and immediately said, yeah, foul. What? Like, that's a problem. Like I said, the NBA gonna have to have a meeting in the offseason. They gotta do something about these refs. This ref really thought that they came to the game to see him. That was his moment, and he immediately made that moment about him. Unbelievable. And I bet you he was pissed that they reversed it. Like, man, you gotta, these fucking NBA refs, man. These NBA refs are terrible, bro. Terrible. I'm looking at Steph, and I'm not even going to keep using Steph, bro. I'll use somebody else, because that's, y'all going to be like, oh, he biased, but I don't care. I'll have enough Warrior fans in this motherfucker eventually. I cannot keep watching Steph Curry. I mean, and it was happening in the fucking Sun series, too. I said it during the Sun series. I mean, they basically fouling Chris Paul, and they not really calling shit. And I think that's because of the overall production Chris Paul done had these last couple games is why the refs is calling it like this. They don't want to bail him out by giving him the calls, but they bailing Luka out. They calling fouls on Luka when people is trying to just give him a little bit of resistance. They call foul on him. But this motherfucker can bump and push and, shoulder and all that to get position. And it's cool. So I'm very confused on that. That makes absolutely no sense to me, but that's that superstar treatment. But I don't think the Mavs are going to get swept. I don't think the Mavs going to get swept. If the Mavs get swept, then that will tell me that Phoenix's loss had a shit ton to do with the Chris Paul. Now, it wasn't just, it did have to do with Chris Paul's sudden decline for the simple reason he is that offense, in my opinion. And when you shut down basically the nucleus of a offense, you cut off the head of the snake. It is what it is after that. And so if the Mavs get swept, that would just show me that, yes, the Suns going to have to make some moves in the offseason. Because they got to bring Chris Paul some help. You can no longer have your team only built around Chris. Because that's legit what it is if this team gets swept. Because there's no way you take Phoenix to 7 games and then you get swept by Golden State. Not to mention, that's making me question why I picked Phoenix even more. Because there's no way that Chris Paul's sudden decline is the only reason that a team that just got swept by the Warriors beat them in 7 on their home court, being in Phoenix in the 7th game. That's more than just Chris Paul and his sudden decline. Because that's ridiculous if these boys come out here and get swept. And I was listening to somebody talk about it today. It's a good chance that could happen if the Mavs never been here before. They come out and they go through some of these stretches they've been going through in these first 3 games where they just struggle to shoot the ball. They start off hot and they start struggling. They could go in the tank from that point on. And Golden State could use that as a closeout opportunity. I said it a couple shows ago. I don't like it when people say, oh, these is fill-out games. You think the Mavs looking at game 1 as a fill-out game now? Now down 3-0. You think they looking at that game as a fill-out game? Or we don't know what could happen in game 1. You think that's how they approach that game now? Because game 1 would have sure been a nice win. As with a game 2, as with a game 3. That's what I'm saying. Y'all make no sense when y'all say stupid shit like that. That shit should stop being said in the media. That's why I see people who have problems with people who speak in quotes and shit. Because some of these quotes, man. And that's something I hear all the time. Well, game 1 is a feel-like game. It's not, though. It's not. It shouldn't be. I'm even hearing NFL players say that shit sometimes. And I'm like, buddy, you don't have a feel-out game in the NFL playoffs. You lose, you go home. You should know better than anybody that a fill-out game makes no sense. But I think the Mavs will show some fight in game 4. Plus, they at home. I don't think that the home thing matter for a team like the Warriors just for the fact they done been to championships. They done won championships. that means something. And so the leader of those teams is actually still there. That's why I thought Jimmy Butler, it was crazy people were sleeping on the Heat. Yeah, like I said, logically, I understand why people was picking Boston. But people was just straight up shitting on Miami. I saw some people who was just giving excuse after excuse as to why Miami lucked up basically getting to this point. And what I'm looking at in this series, truly, I really believe Boston will win Game 4. But that's only because Miami might not be fully healthy. Because I still think Miami winning this series in 7. The thing that I don't really understand is when you look at Boston, right? Because I'm not understanding this. When you look at Boston, and this might not what I was talking about just now, but this popped in my head. What I'm not understanding about Boston, I probably already said this. Boston, I'm looking at these motherfuckers play. Because I alluded to it earlier when I was like, people say, the Brooklyn a bad team, but then they, in the same breath, they'll give, the Celtics a whole bunch of credit for beating them. Okay, so it's as if people don't realize that Middleton was hurt last series. And like I said, I don't play this game, but you have to take these type of things into account when you judging how good they could be in the next round. It's not taking away nothing from them in the last round. It's just saying I have to take into account what might have happened or what could have happened so I can properly judge the next round. That's my whole thing. And if you don't take into account that Middleton could have made a difference in this series if he was healthy, if you don't take into account that this still was a 7-game series, and you only look at the fact that the good things that happened in Boston, that's how you misjudge and underjudge other teams and shit. And I see that happening in the media a lot because I'm looking at some of the, I just talked about the Bucks series, but now I'm looking at this one. You can tell me about these injuries and players not being there and different things. Boston is still a better team than Miami. They still have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum playing every game so far in this series. Those are the 2 best players on your team. I'm seeing Marcus Smart be talked about as he is like a role player most times or just help out his and now people want to use the excuse, Marcus Smart wasn't there in one of the games and and I understand the difference Marcus Smart make. But that's still a team. That's like how I talked about Brooklyn. I don't understand this excuse of Kevin Durant and Harden couldn't win together without Kyrie. Because Kevin Durant and Harden supposed to be 2 of the best players in the NBA. They should be able to be enough. Kevin Durant and Kyrie should be the icing on top of the cake. That's how I look at Boston. And maybe that's not fair. But if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are who we think they are, and I think those are the 2 best players on this team, I think it's wild when you start talking about all the other. Because when I look at the Warriors, Klay Thompson is not the second best player on that team to me. Back in those times, Draymond Green is the second best player on that team, and I done said that for a long time. But it's because Klay can score that people keep saying he the better. No, Klay is as great as Klay scored and as great as his defense was. Draymond Green to me do so many other things at such a high level that it's hard for me not to think he is the second best player on that team. Because obviously it's so very clear that Steph is the best. But to me, Draymond Green, to me, is almost bringing you what Steph can bring you aside from Steph is superior. Like he is all-world scorer. Dre is an all-world defender. So Steph can struggle a little bit early in his career on that offense, on the defensive part, just like Dre can struggle early in his career on the offensive part. And that's cool. Because to me, they generational talents. Draymond Green is 6'6" and guarding the 1 through the 5. Show me somebody else in NBA history who could guard dudes that do at Draymond Green's level. Because I don't want to see nobody who could do it 1 or 2. Draymond Green is legitimately locking down 1 through the 5 whenever he feel like it. That's why I've always said Draymond Green should have more defensive player of the years. Because it's absolutely, and I realized what he was after watching him defend AD. That's what made me realize, like, this dude is otherworldly. Because it's not a lot of, you're not going to, the defender, like Pat Bev, I'm not taking a shot at Pat Bev. Because Pat Bev even said he thinks Draymond Green is one of the greatest defenders all time. And I agree. But Like, if you take Pat Bev's energy of how great he think he is defensively and take Draymond's energy and mix it together, that's probably how I feel about Draymond Green's defense. I don't think people, because they don't like Draymond for whatever wicked reasons, Draymond Green, bro, when I look at his defense in totality, it just don't make sense to me that he can play this great defensively. He is strong enough to body with big dudes and whatnot. He's smart. Like, when Draymond Green, you take Draymond Green at his absolute best defensively, and I put him up against Anthony Davis at his absolute best offensively, AD will win that matchup scoring wise, possibly. But AD gonna take so many fucking shots. I promise you, AD gonna take way more shots than he to get his points at Draymond Green defensively at his best. And I'm gonna be quite frank with you, man. That was really a bad example for me to use, because I just got these nightmares in my head about Draymond Green locking up AD on so many fucking occasions, bro. Like, dead ass, bro. That was a bad example. I should have used somebody else. Because I just got no respect for AD when he go up against Draymond Green, bro. Draymond Green done sunned this motherfucker just far too many times for me to, I can't do it. I cannot even in my head create a visual image of Draymond Green being fucked up by Anthony Davis. That's how many times I done seen Draymond Green assassinate this motherfucker Anthony Davis. And that is a problem when you're supposed to be the scorer and the player that Anthony Davis is. I done seen Draymond Green get worked by Kevin Durant, because eventually everybody gonna have to just, great players do with it. I done seen Kawhi Leonard get destroyed by Steph Curry. Destroyed by Steph Curry. Steph was working his ass. You're never gonna see somebody say Kawhi Leonard is not a ungodly, just a God level or above God level defender. I just don't think Kawhi can guard the 5 or even the 4s the way Draymond can. Now, maybe if Kawhi committed to it, I just think Kawhi's body won't allow him to do that because he hurt so much. And Draymond Green he had a back injury. And back injury's tricky. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember Dwight Howard when he started having those back injuries. That really kind of derailed his career, even though he still had a couple good years left. I think if Dwight could have found a team that was committed to him, Dwight's problem was he left LA. He should have never left LA just because of hard times. What he should have done was tried to get Mike D'Antoni up out of there. He should have tried to say, yo, we got to get rid of D'Antoni. That's not what he should have sat down, had a man-to-man with Kobe and said, listen, Kobe, I want to be here. I want to play with you. I want to play with Powell. I want to win. Cannot play with Mike D'Antoni. Can't do it. Can't do it. And I'm almost certain him and Kobe could have came to a conclusion and could have worked that out. Kobe would have much rather traded the coach than traded a great player like that. Now, obviously, Kobe was, had supreme confidence. So ultimately, losing Dwight wasn't going to, he wasn't losing no sleep at night. But I'm pretty sure if we could go back and ask Kobe, he would have much preferred to get rid of D'Antoni than getting rid of Dwight. I think that was Dwight's biggest mistake, was that, because it wouldn't have turned out like that if he hadn't went to Houston. And to his extent, he didn't really understand the type of person and player that Harden was at the time. But it was when he went to Houston and was no longer the focus on teams. He was no longer the focus. He was no longer. He became the second player, but he started to play in a system where he could no longer demand the ball. Then he ended up with D'Antoni again, I think, because didn't they get D'Antoni over there eventually? Or was he gone before D'Antoni got there? But he was no longer asked to do the type of things he wanted to do. It was just roll to the basket and dunk. Like, the system was not meant for him to be a defender no more. Like, when he went to a team and started going to teams that no longer had, they looked at him as a side piece or something we can use as a other rather than something we build around. That's when his career really started to go off the rails, because he was no longer that guy. In LA, he would have at least had like 2 to 3, 4 more years where he could have healed up and been that guy. Plus, the Laker fans wanted him back. Like, it wasn't like the Laker fans didn't want that man back. They were putting up billboards and everything. They wanted him back. So I think if he could go back, he would have stayed with the Lakers. because I always said I thought Dwight Howard was a Laker and he belonged in Laker uniforms. Like, because a lot of Laker fans was mad at him after he left. I wasn't mad at Dwight. I was disappointed in Dwight because I was like, damn, my guy, because I was a huge Dwight fan. I was like, damn, my guy, I really don't think you should have left, but maybe that's my fandom talking, so I'm not mad at you, but I'm very disappointed. Because at the end of the day, Dwight still was a crazy talent. I just think the Lakers had started to fall apart management-wise, and that's why Dwight Howard left, because he, instead of just, I think a different Dwight would have been able to talk to the organization, be like, yo, we need this in place. I want this in place. Like, you know what I'm saying? And instead, he decided to just, go play. Now, it is always going to be wild to me picking, James Harden over Kobe. I don't care how old Kobe was. Kobe just put his ACL on the line for y'all boys to get to the playoffs, Dwight. Like, come on, my guy. You saw what the man did. And like I said, there's no way Kobe don't come back next year playing completely different, knowing he coming off of that type of injury, and he got you. You would have been playing throughout the majority of the season, putting up big numbers. You would have been the leader. And you can't tell me that if they didn't have the right coach in place that they could have won with Powell, which never makes sense to me that you don't hire Phil Jackson to coach Kobe, Powell, Dwight. The man had just got done coaching Kobe, Powell, Bynum. Like, what are we doing? But I've said too much. But game 4 tonight for Miami, man. We're going to watch that. I'm going to watch that. I'm going to be back to talk to y'all about that tonight. I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. I told y'all we got to come up with another name for the basketball shows, but basketball season's going to be over in a couple, so not tripping on that too much. I appreciate you for joining me. I appreciate you for kicking it with me. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Give my Dukes the kiss on the forehead and the beautiful hug for me. Tell Pops to, you're doing a good job, big dog. Saint out.
I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.